Hi, my loves. I hope that you're integrating all of the energies and changes that are going on this physical plane in a way that best serves you, and I also trust that you are. I'm feeling more and more in my practice that I'm wanting to serve you. I'm wanting to serve other healers and empaths and psychics and clairvoyants and shaman, to serve your people at a greater level. And that's why I'm connected to you, so that I can learn from you as well, and so that I can serve my people at a greater level, and vice versa. That being said, this distinguishment between trauma and drama has been coming to me more and more, not only in my experimentation with my own psyche and nervous system, but it's also been coming to me through downloads in my dreams. So I'm wanting to start with trauma. Trauma is something that's embedded in your nervous system, and drama is specifically related to the story that you've created, mostly subconsciously, around the original trauma. And it can be that the original trauma was in a past life. It can be that the original trauma was from an ancestral experience or coming down through the DNA. It doesn't really matter where the trauma came from. What's important in this video is that it lives within the nervous system. Yeah, so that means it can be energetically felt, perceived, and therefore cleared, because you can literally wrap your mind around the energy of the trauma within the nervous system. This is a technique that I do. I call it stalking, where you stalk the energies, you create a parameter around it, and you clear it. This is such a powerful technique because most of us are walking around every single day living in a nervous system and feeling a certain kind of way that we don't have to feel. I used to have such a huge weight on my chest. I mean, it just felt hard to breathe. And when I did breathe, it felt like I was almost asthmatic. Of course, I would assume that that's how everybody felt, right? Why wouldn't you assume that the way you feel is how most people feel if you don't know any different? But when I started not looking for the drama or the story around the trauma, but I started instead looking for the energy of the trauma existing within the nervous system, I had the most incredible, profound results. And within seconds, my whole nervous system felt completely relieved, and I felt a different kind of a way. So I'm wanting you to start experimenting on yourself. Feel where there's any kind of tension in your physical body. A lot of times it's in the throat, and a lot of times it's in the chest, but it also can exist in different spaces, if you will, in the head and in the heart kind of chakra area, or even for some of you in the digestive system, and some of you in the root chakra, like in your groin area. So it's important, and for those of you who are working with the subconscious mind, you're shifting belief systems, yeah? So when you're shifting belief systems, more often than not, you're working with the drama, meaning the story that your client created around or as a result of the original trauma. It's important, of course, to do this work, to look at, that you have that women are less than men, or women are too much, or women are drama, or it's impossible to live with a woman or work with a woman, whatever you have created as a story surrounding that original trauma. But the real shift comes when you release the trauma, that original energetic imprint on the nervous system that is completely distinguishable from the drama. And here's something that is super easy that you can do. Just literally say it with words. So let's say you go in there with NLP, with theta healing, with EFT, whatever it is you're doing to release the drama or the story or the limiting belief systems. Then just add on top of that, I release, or let's say you're doing with your client, You can have them do it, you know, empower them as much as possible to do the work themselves, right? We both know we're all waking up in the middle of the night sometimes going, fuck, I wish I could call my healer right now. You know, empower them to do the work themselves. You already are. I know you are. So have them say, I release the trauma. I release the trauma, and have them visualize something, whatever works for them. I have my clients visualize like a reverse cyclone or a reverse tornado coming from the crown of their head and going up into the creator's space. And it's like a reverse tornado vacuum. And so I have them imagine the actual trauma, like that imprint on the nervous system, releasing from each cell of the physical body, from each fragment of the energetic field. Yeah, and just being pulled like a magnet in a vacuum up into that reverse tornado and into the creator's space. Trust me, try it on yourself. Like, think of something that some of you have worked. I know, because it was this way for me. Some of you have worked for so many years to release the energy from different angles. Hi, Siri. From different angles around one specific situation. It could have been a sexual trauma. For me, it took me years to release all the traumas around being bullied when I was in elementary school for years. So, but it didn't do the work until I released the trauma. And what's the difference? The trauma is something that the body experienced. Yeah? The drama is something that the mind experienced. And I know we can all say they're interchangeable. Of course, everything's interchangeable, right? We are one, everything's one. But this is important distinguishment, because the body, it's almost like the body can't be soothed by coping mechanisms. Like, you can soothe your mind with coping mechanisms. You could talk your way out of certain things, and like, oh, well, this isn't that much big of a deal, Rachel. You know, other people are dealing with these things, and it'll be okay. You know, tomorrow you can talk yourself down with coping mechanisms, but your body's not going to respond to that. Your body has to have a direct hit with, I acknowledge that this was motherfucking traumatic, right? I acknowledge and honor that you were traumatized by this. Hi, sweetheart, good to see you. So when you're going back in, again, with your clients and with yourself, you've got to continue to honor that the body was traumatized and look directly to the nervous system and release energetically that trauma. Second important point here. And this is what Spirit showed me in my dream last night. Imagine, this is what Spirit showed me. Spirit showed me a grotesque scene that I'm not going to share with you, but a grotesque scene of somebody dying and me holding their hand. Okay? So somebody's dying and me holding their hand. And Spirit said to me, who is more traumatized? This person that is killed or you? And so Spirit really showed me that I needed to honor every single trauma in all space and time that I've witnessed, regardless of whether it was directly directed to me. And every single trauma, even more so, not only that I've witnessed with my eyes, but that I've allowed myself to embody energetically, telepathically speaking, or empathically, that regardless of whether that was my trauma, that I've taken it on, and that it can't be released from my nervous system until I honor that it was fucking traumatic from my body. Yeah? So many of us try to suppress these emotions. We try to suppress all of this stuff, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So imagine something in your experience where you've been able to really cope with it, right? Every day you're telling yourself, you know, other people have have worse partners, like I should be really grateful for this. No, like you really have to go to that space where you feel this energy of woe is me, to be honest, and you allow yourself to feel what the body experienced, the energy of what the body experienced as a result of being traumatized over and 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 over again. Yeah? Allow yourself to feel it, own it, honor it, and say, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. And it doesn't mean that you were the one that we could get into existential conversations about you are the perpetrator and the victim, right? Which is in some terms is true, but in this case, just apologize. Apologized that your body experienced that, regardless of whether you don't need to take blame or responsibility. Just say, I'm so sorry that you went through that. I'm so sorry you experienced that. And then do the exercise that I shared with you before with that reverse tornado, releasing the trauma into the creator space. Comment below if you try it with yourself, and or if you have any more questions, and I'll try to continue to feel into this work. But Spirit is telling me, and all my guides are telling me, that right now a lot of traumas are being resurfaced for people, and this is the time for you to clear those traumas. Pay attention to them and realize that your body will feel completely different when they're released. That's something to look forward to. I love you so much. You're doing so great at life. Mwah.